What's going on, everyone? It's Scott here from the Break Evens, giving you another podcast today. But today is different. Usually it's super coach stuff. Today is Fantasy Premier League or FPL. I've hinted a few times on podcasts and on Twitter that I'm thinking about doing FPL content. And I've decided, you know what? There's no harm in doing it. So we're bringing FPL content now. I'm excited. Something different. Not gonna, I'm not gonna lie. Um, I'm not someone who has done crazily well, but I'm someone who has done well, and I feel like I have a lot of experience and I know what I'm talking about. So, um, obviously, being from Australia, it's different as well. It's a little bit harder from Australia because unless you're up early in the mornings, you miss team news, the late outs, you miss that. It's not like the AFL where Thursday and Friday nights, you basically know who's playing, and sometimes there's a late out. FPL is very different. You usually know the Saturday night games, who's starting, but then the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday games, you really don't know, and it's just it is a lot harder. So, but I'm excited to start this, and we're starting with price reveals on Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. We've had FPL reveal player prices on Twitter, and that's what we're going to go through today. But before we do that, you don't forget you can find us on Twitter at Break Evens Pod, on Facebook at The Break Evens, and here on YouTube, The Break Evens. If you want all Supercoach or FPL content, Twitter is the way to go. Our Facebook page is also the way to go. Everything is posted on there. And that's if you don't want to listen to the video back over and over again. All the content will be on Twitter and Facebook. So make sure you give us a like and a follow for all Supercoach and FPL content. So, all right, price reveals. Tough. Obviously, different sort of format. And the small half price details can make a difference. So let's go into, I believe it was Thursday night. We got the first price reveal, and that was Erling Haaland and a few others. So let's jump over to that now. All right. So these are the first set of price reveals we got for forwards. So what happened on the Thursday night? They just put random players up here and there, one from each team. And what I've basically done is I've put them into forward, midfield, goalkeeper, defenders, just so it's a bit easier to keep track of. So first up is Erling Haaland at 15 million. That is nuts. For those who know FPL, no one has ever gone over 14 mil at a starting price. And here we are at 15. That is insane. He gets goals, he gets assists. So there's a reason for it. Is 15 mil too steep? That is the big question. It will be very hard to start him and a few of the other people that are in this photo. But it is something that we are going to have to consider for arguably the best forward going off the last two seasons anyway. So 15 mil for Haaland is insane. Will you be starting him? It's the big question. Next up is Ollie Watkins at 9 million. I think that is unders, in my opinion. I think Watkins is more of a 9.5, maybe 10, but probably 9.5. So you can get him a little bit cheaper, in my opinion. second most forward points, I believe, last season. Just behind Haaland. And if you actually look at the stats, they're basically 1-for-1. So for 6 million cheaper, Ollie Watkins could be the go, and he's playing well in the Euros. And by that, I mean he just come on and scored the winner in the semis for England. And by the time this video comes out, the final will have been played. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes on and makes an impact there. But Ollie Watkins, I think, will be a very popular starting player for most, and probably season long. Kai Havertz is next at 8 million. Again, unders. Being a Chelsea fan, a little bit of dirt on Havertz, some bad blood, but he popped up last season for Arsenal. He popped up, got some assists, went on a run of games where he was finishing. That is his one problem, is in front of goal he doesn't quite finish. And if Arsenal don't sign a striker, Havertz will be the starting striker. So there's more opportunities for him, even if he plays back a little bit in that cam spot. He's going to assist, so could be a very good option. A little bit cheaper. I think we're going to see a lot of people start Watkins and Havertz, and if those who are starting Haaland, it's going to be either Watkins or Havertz there. I think those first three are going to be very popular. At 7 million, you got Rich Arlison, which is interesting because is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Are Tottenham going to bring in a striker? Very, very strange. He's shown before that he can score. He can score points at 7 mil. That is cheap, but it all depends on what happens in this transfer period. If that striker comes in, then I don't think he is a shout at all. If he plays that main striker and gets consistent minutes, then I think he could be a good option. But at the moment, I think you pay up the extra mil for Kai Havertz. Now we have Jean-Philippe Mateta and Ivan Toney at 7.5. Let's start with Toney at Brentford at the moment, but it has come out he wants to leave. If he leaves, I think it was Manchester United, Liverpool, and somewhere else. I can't remember the third team. Hopefully Chelsea. They're all interested in signing Toney, and if they do that and he becomes the main striker, he is going to score. We've seen before how well he can finish. If he goes to one of the big teams, he could be an absolute steal at 7.5. But with everything up in the air, I think it is a little bit hard to start him. But I think times during the season, I think he'll be a good one to have. And Jean-Philippe Mateta had him last season towards the end. He did bits. Elise's on the move. He's already gone. Eze, rumors that he might leave. If so, I think that does affect Mateta, just because those guys gave so many good deliveries to him inside the box and he was able to finish. You take those two guys out, he doesn't score those goals. So I think another one, if he gets on a roll, you have to have him in your side at some stage, but probably not to start. I think with Toney and Mateta, you pay that extra 0.5 to go to Kai Havertz. All right, we will move to the next, which is the midfielders. So, Mo Salah, 12.5 mil. I was hoping for 12 just because he didn't have the greatest season last season. But 12.5 in the midfield with the easiest fixtures, I think you start him. If you had to choose between Haaland and Salah, I'm going Salah early. Just because that first game, I believe they play Ipswich, newly promoted side. He could go off. Now they have a new manager, and what I've been hearing is he likes to play and get everyone in the center of the pitch. So what we saw with Salah last season more prominently and a little bit the season before is he'd stay very wide and then try to cut in and play, make and score. And we saw a big drop in his scoring. So if the rumors are true and they want to play a bit more direct in the center, that means Mo will be, I guess, more direct, more chances. He loves to score. He wants to score. He will take a shot if he's slightly open. He's going to take that shot. The more shots you take, the more chance that you are going to score. So I think if the rumors are true, Salah has a big opportunity to bounce back this season with the early draw early on. I think he is a must have. But I can see why people might look elsewhere. If you do go for Haaland, it is understandable. They play Chelsea first up, which they could score against. Chelsea, our defense doesn't hold up most games, and we usually hope for Cole Palmer to save us. So after that, the Man City fixtures do open up. But I think for Mo Salah, I think he's definitely one who is locked into my team. Next, we will go with Bruno Fernandes. Yes, it is Fernandes. It's not Fernandez. A lot of people have had their arguments over that the past couple of years, but it is Fernandes. 8.5 mil is cheap. It is cheap. He is a bit out of form, very quiet in the Euros, to what you expect. Manchester United, they're going to want to bounce back. I had them top 4 last season. They didn't get that. I think, was it 8th or 10th that they finished? He's going to look to bounce back on penalties, on free kicks. He is the man. Are you going to start him? You can. I think he might be popular for some. But it all depends on the Saka and Foden prices, in my opinion. They haven't come out yet. They might come out tonight. But I think at 8.5, he is unders there. Next up, we'll do Jared Bowen and Anthony Gordon at 7.5. I like this pricing, by the way. I think everyone that has been priced so far has been priced pretty fairly. So let's start with Bowen. Very reliable. Has shown when he has the right fixtures, he can score well. Even sometimes in those tough games, he finds the back of the net or he gets that assist. I don't think he's someone you start straight away. I think actually Gordon is better value just because of fixtures. But Bowen will be very well priced and will be someone who we will need during the season. Anthony Gordon, as I said, 7.5 mil. Newcastle have easy fixtures early on. He could score very, very well early on. I'm not sure what's happening with Isaac, if he's looking to be traded, if he's staying. I think that's still a little bit up in the air. If he stays, I think Gordon on that left side is still dangerous, and I think he can still score well. He likes to cut in. He can assist. He can finish. I think he'll be a very popular selection, definitely early on. We move to Christopher Nkunku at 6.5. The Chelsea man, the man who's always injured. This is a bargain. Absolute bargain. Lost. I think he started at 9 at the start of last season. Very injury prone. Didn't get much of a run at it. If he gets a run at it this year, I think we could see him be one of the most highly owned players early doors. If that's him playing pure striker or he drops back, he's going to score. He's going to assist. He looked comfortable when he did play. The only problem is when he did play, especially when he first came back, Chelsea were in a slump. They hadn't really hit their strides yet. And if he played a bit later and a bit more consistently, I think he would have found a lot of success. So I think Nkunku, most people are starting him unless he gets injured early on, which could possibly happen. Solly March is next at 6.5. 2 seasons ago, you had March, you had Mitoma, you had Estupinian, who were all must-haves. Last season, basically disappeared. Estupinian was out of the side, lost a lot of form. March didn't really find that form that he had. And Mitoma, I'm pretty sure he was injured or something. It wasn't a great pick, and I'm pretty sure I started him last season. So 6.5 for Solly March. If he's on free kicks, if he's on, I don't think he'll be on penalties, but if he's on free kicks, he could definitely be an option, definitely a pod option there, but I don't think many will look towards him. Pedro Neto at 6.5 as well. The ultimate burn man. I was speaking to a few of the Supercoach boys, and they said he is the burn man, 6.5. He goes on a run, you bring him in, and then he just disappears, or he gets injured. That happened to me last season. I got him in that game. He got injured, had to trade him back out. I think he's someone who will be good throughout the season, but not someone who we start. Callum Hudson-Odoi at 5.5. This could be a pick. He had 2 assists and did he score today? He definitely had 2 assists. He might have scored, he might not have. For Nottingham Forest, I don't mind it. He's a very creative player. He knows where to put the ball. He just needs to find some consistency. So if you are looking for a cheaper option, I don't mind it. But not someone who I'm looking towards. And Anton Semenyo, 5.5 as well. A lot of people got him in towards the end of last season. He got on a roll. Bournemouth weren't playing too bad then as well. But I don't think he is a shout this season. I think possibly you don't start if they go on a run, possibly, or if there's a double game week, but I don't think that's the way to go. Next up, we will move to. Sorry about that. We'll move to the goalkeepers and defenders. So this will be pretty quick. Jordan Pickford, 5 mil. I really like that price. Usually I like to go 4.5 into a $4 million goalkeeper, but I think you could start Jordan Pickford, especially with a whole bunch of defenders that we do have that are 4.5 and below. You see some here and you'll see some a bit earlier. I'm sorry, a bit later. So Pickford here. Everton, was he the highest scoring goalkeeper last season? I think he was. So definitely someone who you can look towards, and someone who I'm currently looking towards as well. And I think someone that is worth paying up for. If you don't like going those 5 million, then you can obviously skip him, but someone who I think you should definitely look at for Everton. There's save points and the clean sheet points here and there. Bernard Leno, I think he was third highest for points for goalkeepers, 5 mil as well. I think you go Pickford over Leno, just in my opinion. But it could be another great option as well. I'm not sure how Fulham's fixtures are early on, but I know Everton could have a good start. So those are the two goalkeepers that we got on that Thursday night. We moved to the defenders now. We got Ricardo Pereira at 4.5 and Leif Davis at 4.5. I did some research on these guys. We've obviously seen Pereira before. We know what he can do. Getting a bit older now, though. So what I'll do is I'll get their stats up and we can have a quick chat about that. All right, I just realized it was showing the wrong picture there. So you saw Harwood Ballas there. I apologize. But going back to what I was saying, Pereira and Leif Davis here. So Pereira, 30 years old, getting up there. Last season, he had 3 goals and 3 assists in all competitions. And he played 45 games, starting in 39, coming on as a sub in 6. So it doesn't scream great. So doesn't look like a great option, especially he's getting a bit older. He could definitely lose minutes depending on what their defense is. But we move over to Leif Davis, and you can see him at the bottom there. He had 2 goals and 18 assists. At 4.5, I think that is the man to go. The only thing is we have a few other 4.5 mil defenders that we're going to get into a bit later. But he was definitely someone who I was looking at. Got those attacking returns. If he can continue that on, it will be a bit harder in the Prem. But if he can continue that on, that form on from the Championship, he could do very, very well. Now, what we will do is we will go back to here. You can actually see picture I had, because we're going to talk about Taylor Harwood Ballas. I don't know much about him. I have looked up a little bit. He does look to be big centre back, who can play on the left, I believe it is. So let me get up his stats one more time, because you guys saw it before, and we can go through it. So here we have it, 22 years, 188 centimeters, plays in the center or can play on the right. Last season, 2 goals, 3 assists. So obviously not very attacking, but at 4 million, we basically have someone who is locked in to start at 4 million and could be great bench cover. And it also depends on how you think Southampton are going to go. Definitely someone to look at if you are going for that 4 million bench option. Some might opt for 4.5, but at the moment, if you're going for a 4 million defender, Taylor Harwood Ballas is the man to go. So on the Friday night, we got teams. So basically what happened the Thursday night, they did 20 players, one from each team. They gave you that, and now they're doing the team. So on Friday night, we got Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Wolves, Brentford, West Ham, and Leicester. So we've got 5 players from each. 5 sevens is 35. So we've got 35 players here. We're going to start with the big one, the GOAT, Cole Palmer at 10.5. A bit more expensive than what I was expecting. I'm not going to lie. We knew he was going to go up, but going up 5.5 is ridiculous. It's actually the highest amount ever that someone has risen after a season going into a new season. 5.5 mil. He's at 10.5 as a midfielder. We know he's on pens. We know how good he is. He's open play. We we saw that last week at the Euros with his pass to Watkins. Is he worth it at 10.5? It's so hard. It's so because we know how good he is. A little bit of Chelsea bias. Can he live up to what he did last season? Now there was a lot of penalty goals in that, but we did also see him score from open play and assist from open play as well. So that will be a tough one. It will depend on what Saka and Foden come in as, because I think most people will be going Salah and then one of Palmer, Foden, or Saka there. So 10.5, very, very interesting. Looking at the rest, Nico Jackson, I'm staying away. Sterling at 7 could be a redemption year, but I think he fell out of favour. So I don't think I'm going there unless he shows something. Reece James at 5 is an absolute steal if he stays fit. He can't play 90 minutes at the moment. He usually does a hamstring. So hard to tell. And Dewsbury Hall at 6 will be an interesting one because he did well last season. He's got to be very confident, and we got him in for a reason. So I think he could play games, but at 6 mil, I don't know. I'm going to have to see it first. So that's Chelsea out of the way. We'll go to Crystal Palace, and Eze at 7 mil is a steal. He should have at least been 7.5, maybe even 8. At 7, I'm locking him in my team. He was someone who I was looking at for the right price, and I found that. As I said before, there are rumors he could be on the move, but if he stays at 7 mil, I think he is a great option. Helps Mateta out as well. And then looking at the rest, Kamada, Wharton, I'm not going near him. I'm looking at Gehi, 4.5. We've seen how well he's done in the Euros. Possible clean sheets. They got a good run early. I think he's definitely someone you should look at on your bench and someone who I've looked towards. Richards, I probably won't go near. All right. As we move to Aston Villa, Matson at 5. If he locks down that left side, I think he is an absolute must start at 5 million. A little bit of competition though, but I think for the majority of it, I think you lock him in. I think he will be that preferred option on that left side, and if he is, he's locked in. So now looking at the rest, Bailey, he's cheap. Do you go Martinez? No, I at 5 mil. You could. But then you have Contra at 4.5, who I'm looking at. They have pretty good fixtures, and you can actually, if you get Ben Mee, who we'll talk about in a second, if you get both of those guys in, you can actually rotate them with good fixtures up to round 13. So, and sorry, I'm just getting this up. I did have it somewhere. Aston Villa. So basically, their fixtures, they have Arsenal in game week 2, which is a hard one, but basically up to game week 10, that's when it starts to get a bit hard for Aston Villa. So, and then if you look at Brentford, they have hard games in between, and then they get easier. So you can have Konza for the start, and you can go to me afterwards. I think Konza is someone you should be definitely looking at. Now we move to Brentford. We have Thiago there. And at 6 mil, it all depends on if Tony leaves. If Tony leaves, this man should be probably a bench option. Someone who should look at for that bench spot. But in saying that, 6 mil, it is a bit of an awkward price. I don't know much about Thiago. All I know is if Tony's not playing, he's going to ball out. You got Wisser as well. I think they'll prefer Thiago ahead of him. And I think the other two, Ben Mee and Flecken, I think those are the guys you're going to look at 4.5 each. As I said, Ben Mee, that is not me, Ben Mee. Definitely points to be had. Can score from stoppages, mainly corners, obviously, being that taller guy, but definitely clean sheets. If their defense holds up once again, could score very well, and that will go into Flecken at 4.5. You either start him or he's on your bench. If you're going Pickford, I reckon you have this guy as a backup. But if you're not starting Pickford, I think you start Flecken. As you move into the Wolves, Cunha at 6.5, I think a little bit cheap. He did really well in parts last season, and I think he could carry that on. And at 6.5 as a forward, that is cheap as chips. Looking at the other guys, I'm not really on them. Strand Larson, no. Sarabia, no. Aït-Nouri is the one that you could look at, but the Wolves fixtures early on are tough. So I think once their fixtures open up, then you can look at them. So they've got Arsenal, Chelsea, Forest, Newcastle, Villa, Liverpool, Brentford, and then they've got Man City, and then after that it opens up. So that's game week 8. So I think from game week 9 onwards, you can definitely look at Aït-Nouri, but I probably wouldn't start him if I'm being honest. And then Dawson, again, same as Aït-Nouri, big tall defender. Instead, scores from those corners could do well. We move on to West Ham. Kudus at 6.5, I think, is underpriced massively. I think he could do great things. Did well last season. I think he can carry that on. Can carry that on. Definitely someone who I'm looking at the moment. I believe I have Eze instead. But if I need that extra 0.5, I think he could be a good option. Ward-Prowse, you know what you're going to get. He's going to go on a run of just free kicks everywhere. Could be a good shout throughout the season. Antonio, I don't think you go near. Same with Kilman, and I think Areola could be a good backup option for rotation with your strikers. And now we move to Leicester, newly promoted. You got Jamie Vardy at 5.5, too old, rotation risk. You don't go near him, in my opinion. Cordova Reed didn't have a great season last season. I believe he played for Fulham. I wouldn't be going near him. Mavidi, Daka, and Okoli. Daka, you would think would be one of the main striker options. If Iheanacho's not there or he's injured, and I don't really know much about the other two. I think Leicester, you stay away, if I'm being honest. Let me get up. I do have a graphic for Leicester, though, so give me a second. So this is what I had up from last season. So Jamie Vardy, 18 goals, 2 assists, from 18 appearances, well, starting appearances, and 17 off the bench. That's what I was talking about there. Dewsbury Hall, I did mention him a bit earlier. 12 goals and 14 assists could be a great option. I still think he's a bit expensive there at 6 mil. Marvy Diddy, 12 goals, 16 assists as a midfielder. And he's priced at 5.5. Again, I just think you look elsewhere there. And Daka 7 and 5, 15 appearances, 5 off the bench. So not great for Leicester, if I'm being completely honest. But hey, it is what it is. We got these price reveals for a reason, so we're going to talk about them, aren't we? So let's move on to the ones that we got last night, being Saturday night. And the ones we got last night was Liverpool, Tottenham, Brighton, Bournemouth, and Ipswich. Very, very interesting there. So we'll start with Liverpool. Cody Gakpo at 7.5. Obviously, we already had Salah. So we've got Gakpo. Again, as I spoke about the new manager, it looks like his tactics, he likes to have those inverted wingers. So Gakpo and Salah can cut in. If Gakpo starts on that left, I think he could cut in and score plenty, or at least have more opportunities. The only problem is you got Luis Diaz there who can play there as well. Does Gakpo actually play up forward as the main striker? Because Nunez, as we know, is pretty much hit and miss in a literal sense there. Goals and throwing punches, if you saw that. But Gakpo could have an opportunity at 7.5 mil. At this stage, I think I'm still paying that 0.5 more to get Havertz, but could definitely be someone we look at during the year. Nunez 7.5. I had him in and out last season. Rode that roller coaster. And I think it's the exact same. I don't think you start him. Depends if he gets banned or not. But definitely someone you look at when he gets hot. Trent Alexander-Arnold at 7 mil. That is cheap as chips. We know what he can do. Set pieces, shooting from outside the box. He's passing. He's an incredible talent. It will be interesting to see how he plays under the new system. I think you could potentially start him. But definitely someone who I want to look at first. McAllister, I'm not going near, and Van Dijk. If you want a Liverpool defender, I think you just stick with Van Dijk. He's going to play clean sheet points there. The odd header goal, but he's pretty nailed on, and he's $1 million cheaper than Alexander Arnold. Next up, we have Tottenham, and doesn't really interest me here. You got Madison at 7.5, needs to find some form. He was great at the start of last season, got injured, died off towards the end. Not really keen on it. Kulusevski's the same. I'm not really keen. Pedro Porro at 5.5. I think you could have him during the season, but you got Udogie there at 5, who I think is a great talent. But at 5 mil, I just don't think you start him. And Vicario, I don't think you go a Tottenham goalkeeper. I'm not just saying that because it's Tottenham. I just think the prices we've gotten so far, it doesn't really scream must have. That's all. We moved to Brighton. So we've got Minter at 5.5. I don't know much about him. I'm sorry. But at 5.5, I don't think we go. That's a very awkward price for a midfielder. Someone who I do think we look at is João Pedro at 5.5 as a forward. Severely underpriced. On penalties, he's the main penalty taker. I don't think anyone's going to take it from him. He did struggle with minutes last year under De Zerbi, but new manager, hopefully he gets a fresh run at it. And I think penalty goals from open play, you must have him at 5.5 as your third forward. It gives you a little bit extra cash to go on that midfield, or maybe go like a Van Dijk up to a Trent if you want to do that. So I think João Pedro will be very popular this season. Adingra, I'm not going to look at him at 5.5. Stupinian at 5. If he finds form, I think you can bring him in, but I'd lean towards Dunk at 4.5. Again, he's a defender. He's good on set pieces, those corners. Yes, he's not as attacking, but I think he can be as much of a threat than the Stupinian can, going off his form from last season. So definitely have a look at Dunk. We move to Bournemouth. We've got Dominic Solanke, 7.5. Absolutely goated last season. If you didn't have him at the right times, that definitely hurt your score. Do you start him at 7.5? No. I don't think you start him. Again, you got Havertz there, and if you want to go a bit cheaper, you got João Pedro, who I just spoke about, who I think is going to score well. So probably a miss on Solanke. Tavernier, Cook, Kirkes. No, I'm not looking at them at all. But then you got Zabani, who scored great at the end of last season. Everyone looked towards him. Bournemouth went on a run. He looked really good. Attacking returns. You could start, but I think there are better 4.5 mil options there. And we move to Ipswich. You got Hutchinson, Chaplin, Hurst, Morsey, and Burgess. I don't know a lot about these guys, so I'm going to go back to that Ipswich graph that I got, and then we can talk about it from there. All right, so we have Hutchinson here. So 5.5 million midfielder, 10 assists, 5 goals from 20 appearances starting. That is 24 off the bench. 5.5 mid. Again, I'm just not liking that. You got Hurst as the forward, 5.5, 7 goals, 6 assists from 24 appearances. Looked to be the main striker. You got Kiefer Moore there. I don't know if Moore was injured a whole bunch, but Hurst was there. He did a job, but I don't think enough for us to look at him there. Burgess. Do we have Burgess here? Right here. Cameron Burgess. 2 goals, 1 assist as a defender. 4 million defender, that is. He's nailed on. So again, same as Harwood Bellis. He's nailed on, starting defender. It's going to get you the odd header. Not a bad bench option. And we have Sam Morsey, who is a 5 million midfielder, 3 goals, 6 assists. Played all 42 games, so it's not a great output, that. And 5 mil, yeah, you're not really going there, are you? So not really looking at Ipswich unless it is Leif Davis. Just because those attacking returns, he seemed to be the main guy. So that's all of the price reveals that we've got so far. There we go. There is hopefully more coming tonight, being Sunday, and maybe Monday. And I think Tuesday or Wednesday, FPL is going to open. So what I'm going to do is on Tuesday, I'm going to go through the rest of the price reveals, and then we're going to open up and I'll show you my first team. So that's how I'm going to play it. If you want more FPL content and you sort of liked how this all went today, please let me know. Let me know by subscribing and liking our YouTube channel. If you see stuff posted on Facebook or on Twitter, make sure you like, share it, you follow us there. Don't forget at Break Evens Pod on Twitter and the Break Evens Facebook page on Facebook. All the content will be there, and I want to interact with more people in the FPL community. I'm brand new to this, so it's not going to be the greatest thing ever, I'm not expecting it to be the greatest thing ever, but it's something I'm wanting to have fun with, something new that goes off the football season, off season, keeps up that fantasy aspect. I might look into some BPL stuff. I'm not sure, but we're here for FPL content and Supercoach content mainly. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure you like, follow, and share this video. Let's get this going. FPL in Australia. Let's get it going. Okay, so thank you all for watching. And until next time, it's bye for now.